don't know if anyone saw what was happening there. See, I'm right here around 20 degrees, and actually as it was continuing to bend, this pin was touching right here and moving the indicator. So what I found out was that this pin and this pin, which are the same size, I happen to set them in the wrong holes. Now the shorter one doesn't make it all the way through. If you see, once it's dropped, it doesn't even touch into that. So it actually wasn't even pushing properly. So I need a short one in here. Don't do this. And put the long one in here. That's going to be the right way. So what I'm going to have to do is take this tube back out and use my vindicator to check how far I have bent it, and then try to put it back in the same spot and continue if I need to. I'm trying to go around 50 degrees, so don't exactly know where I am right now. I'll figure it out. Now from what I could tell, I was right about 48 degrees. So we got everything set to 48 degrees. Everything's as tight as I can get it by pulling on it without trying to actually push it any with the ram. So now I'm going to have to go to 50 plus a little bit extra for some kind of spring back. So there's 50. We're going to have to account for spring back. So I'm going to go 2 extra degrees. We'll see what this does. Oh, the end of the ram. We got about 51.5. Have to reset now. Alright, I was wrong. I actually ended up not having it tight back here. So there we are, about 52. Let's see how much spring back we have now. There we go, right at 50. So we'll see if this piece fits the way I want it to. Alright, I'm going to try to bend this other piece. This time we got the pins in the right spot. Everything's clear. And we're set on 0. Also, I have to use this little pancake air compressor because my big air compressor isn't working right now. One other time, I put this pin not all the way through, and you see how it's kind of got like the paint messed up. It actually bent that top piece. Those rams are pretty strong. Cleaned up the shop a little bit too. It's not great, but cleaned it up. Put my 60 up on the table to start getting that figured out. Well, let's try to get this one to 50 degrees. Alright, I had to wait for that little tiny air compressor. We're at 50 now. I'm going to go 2 more degrees just like we did on that last one. There we go, 52. Let's see how this does as far as spring back. There's all the pressure off of it. There we go, we're close enough. That's about 50.5 or so. That'll work. Alright, that's the look of it. Got a little bit more to clean up on the notches, but they're pretty good. Starting to like the way it looks. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do right here for bumper type of setup, but not exactly a bumper. If I want to lay something in front of it here, or if I want to put something on the inside. I'll have to figure that out later on. But this is the design of it, and the grill, the factory grill is going to come into right here. It'll be cut down so that basically the headlights come down around here. I don't know if I'll add tube or anything to protect them. I may just leave it and not worry. I'm going to cut the header panel down, and this hashtag is slightly fitting, just over here hacking at it with a Sawzall. So as you saw, I'm starting to cut that header panel down, but the trying to fit it in here, I'm hitting these levels. So even though this isn't really ready to be welded, I'm going to go ahead and tack it in so that I can move them out of the way and start trying to fit that to make sure that all this is going to work, and see if I need to make any adjustments. It's time for the motor mounts. So this is just a 1.5 inch pipe nipple. They're schedule 80 or whatever. I cut the threaded ends off and end up sanding the inside a little bit. And then these are just bushings from standard like control arms that come with a lot of different things. I just have a bunch of them. And a piece of stainless pipe, tube should I say. And so these are going to go inside of here. Obviously basically like that. This one in here. Piece of tube goes inside there. And that's the bolt. I made little, just basic little tube pieces to mount it to my new frame. I'll grab this one. I'll show you, I already have that one up in there. And I had to drill out the stock motor mount bolt holes to 9/16. That's just happened to be what piece of tube I found. So basically these are gonna sit right there and be centered up on that. And once I lift the motor up, I'll be able to set them in place and get them welded on. Gotta get this one put together and put over there on the other side. Okay, I got them both in. They're centered up enough, squared up enough, and I took the jack out, and you can see the piece that's actually holding it up is just barely touching now. So what I think I'm gonna do is tack them on here, then I can take them out, fully weld this, and then I'll come back and tack and weld this afterwards. I think that's gonna be the easiest way for me to do it and get a weld on the back side of all that, just with less having to work from the underside. Seeing the same thing over here, you can see it's on there and it's holding itself up. I got all the little bushings out and the little thinner pieces of tube. And then when I was pulling apart, I noticed right there that just from that tack, it melted it already. So make sure you don't ever weld with any of those little bushings inside of something, it'll ruin them. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. I'm going to try to basically go like this, weld and roll this as I'm doing it. No professional. Oh, and got me some cheap gloves from Harbor Freight too, so here we go. Alright, while those are cool and I'll go ahead and show you, I went ahead and decided that I'm going to keep everything where it is. I like the way it all is laid out. I'm just still got to fit the grill in better. I went ahead and welded these lower pieces of the frame on. So I'll be pulling these two off next and just cutting the little tacks and cleaning everything up to get them ready to weld, and I'll end up welding on these. So I also got to pull it off here, clean this up, and take some of this paint off of here and probably make a little bit more clearance on the back side of all this stuff. But this is the way it looks. I think that once I get it cut and the headlights in there, it should look a lot better. Got a little burn down in my pants there. I gotta have to reposition. I got both the motor mount pieces welded in on each side, and they seem pretty good. I was able to take out the piece of wood that holds up underneath of that oil pan skid. Once I get everything tied in with these bars, shock hoops and everything, that's when I'll go ahead and take this piece off the front. It probably can hold itself, but just in case, I'd rather leave it there to support everything.